Welcome to the Grown Up Show, everyone. We're bringing a grown up as always up for debate. My name is Danny Barros, alongside my good buddy Anthony Hall.
What's up?
Not much, man. We are back for episode 16. A little long overdue, but we got here nonetheless. Maybe life got in the way a little bit, but here we are.
Yeah, I had to skip another week. We're dads. We're working dads. We have working wives. So sometimes this little nighttime time we have just isn't our time.
It's just not in the cards sometimes in that week, or at least it wasn't last week. So but here we are. We're back. And it's kind of nice. I mean, I think certainly enough to talk about each week, but I think we've got even more topics that we can run through today, which is going to be fun. I mean, a lot's happened over the course of the week, especially with this this election that's coming up and sports and whatnot. So it's been nothing short of entertaining, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a fun and funny couple weeks. So
yeah, man. Well, before we get into it too far, let's get into the beer and then we'll just get this thing rolling. What do you say?
I'm down. What you got?
This week I'm going with it's called Howard Street IPA. This is from Thirsty Bear Brewing Company here in San Francisco. And what's cool about this brewery is they're 100% organic. There's not, beer for the most part is very organic or clean, but they're, actually certified, which is kind of cool. And, San Francisco being the climate of that type of people, which it's pretty cool, man. It's a really good beer too. It's a West Coast IPA. Even says it right there on the can. West Coast.
Just in case you needed the clarification.
Yeah, it's 7% ABV, and it's 65 IBUs. So it's right there in just like the traditional West Coast wheelhouse for the IBUs.
Nice. I am looking for my IBUs and everything. I don't see anything, but so this is Love and Ritual from Great Notion Brewing up here. I've had a couple of these beers on the show, I believe. I know I've had one other one, but this is it's just a Indian Pale Ale IPA. I have not had this one. I've had a few of their other ones, and they're really, really good. But I just realized this one doesn't have any.
There's some good can art, though.
Yeah, I love the art. This is one thing that they're really good at is their can art. This doesn't give any of the percentages at all. Interesting. But you know what? This is also one of those beers that it's like it's canned on site,
Oh,
so
nice.
It might just be one of those things that they just don't provide that information. They just do the bare minimum because it probably changes a little bit.
Yeah, who knows?
So my brother-in-law actually got me this one. He brings me beers. He thinks he's a you. He's like the knockoff version of you.
Knockoff.
So he'll bring me a beer here and there.
Oh, we love you, Jeff.
Sometimes.
Oh man, how's that one?
It's okay. Not my favorite. It's got a little bit of that funky aftertaste that I'm not a fan of. You'd probably really like this.
This probably has a little higher IBU content then, if it's not really in your wheelhouse.
I mean, oh, wait a minute. Wow. It's there. It's just in dark ass purple and the fucking label's black. Okay. 7% alcohol. That's all it says. And then it says drink today.
Oh god.
Well, I broke that already because I've had this in the fridge for
You let us on for that. Jesus.
So God, I'm getting old. I couldn't see that, man. Look at, you're not gonna see it on camera. Oh, you can't because of the light. See that? See it right there?
Yeah, you can see the purple.
Yeah, but that's just because there's a light shining right on it. But from like my side, I couldn't even see that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's like in the shadows.
Yeah. No, I'm just giving Jeff a hard time though. But he's big into beer too. So I just cheers, Jeff, for always looking out when you see an interesting beer you think I like. He always is kind enough to buy me one. And this is one of my. This is a great, yeah. Or I see. I think this is where it's like hard to thank him because part of me feels like there's a small part of that makes me feel like he does it to be nice. There's another part that makes me feel like he buys a couple, tries it and
Yeah.
doesn't like it, and then is like, "Oh, here, man, I got you a beer."
Yeah.
Which is
Try
probably
this
more
one. Try this
realistic.
one.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
think you really like this one, man. This is the type that you're really fond of, and it's just
He's
funny
trying to
because
liquidate the bad ones so
yeah,
that way he can justify his new purchase, and his wife's not gonna be like, "Well, what do you mean? We already have beer." "No, no, no, I gave that one to Anthony, so we needed more," you know?
yeah. What's funny, dude, is I don't know, but I'm pretty sure his wife is more into beer than he is. I know that I'm from what
Oh,
it
yeah?
looks like that she can kind of drink him under the table a little bit, but I'm
Yeah, I
not
know they enjoy
100%
going to
sure.
breweries and stuff together, but I didn't know if she was, like, as enthused as he was, but that's cool if she is.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're pretty private about their relationship, and I'm also the type that doesn't really give a shit about other people's relationships. But from the little bits I get, sounds like she's very much in. It is like a two-way thing, which is cool. I mean, that's cool to
Oh,
have
that's
something like
cool.
that to share with your
For
significant
sure.
other. So,
Oh, for
but no, this
sure.
is good. I like it. I'm definitely gonna finish it.
Cheers.
Hmm.
I got my Colster
Oh my
here.
god. It's just like that's a nerd thing, dude. That's something I should have next to my computer.
You're a nerd,
Yeah.
you know?
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's out of
Some
place. It should be in my hand, not
Yeah, you're
yours.
you're totally slacking over there, bro.
Oh man, whatever.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty nerdy over here, though, I must say, like, things are
Is
definitely
that
feeling a
wait,
little nerdier than they used to
is
be.
that a Logitech sticker on your wall?
Yeah, the kids put that up.
Nerd. You fucking nerd. Oh my
I saw
god.
it there and I was gonna take it down. I was like, "Oh, the kids put this up." And I'm like, "Whatever, just leave
Dude,
it."
no, leave it, man. It's awesome.
It came with the new gaming mouse that I got. Oh, speaking of the gaming mouse, these little things came with it. By the way, I got a gaming mouse. Been doing a lot better in Call of Duty, for those out there who wish to know.
There
Gamer
we go.
tag DJ
You got a
Barros.
keyboard coming on your way pretty soon here too.
Are
Yeah, the
these
weights.
little weights?
Yeah,
Little weights?
you put them
Okay,
in the mouse.
that's what I thought. I figured, but I didn't know if are you supposed to put all of them in there?
It's up to you. It's personal
Yeah, I've
preference.
got I've got 3 in there right now. There's 2
Yeah, I
more.
think let me look at mine. I think I have Oh, I don't have any in this one. Oh, that's right, because mine's wireless and the wireless aspect added weight to it.
Yeah,
So
'cause there's
so
more guts.
I didn't put those in this one, but I think I usually ran 2 or 3, which is funny because like the pro gamers, they're all about like super light mouse, and there's these companies out now that are making mice that have like a bunch of holes in them to
To
take away
breathe.
from the to take away from the weight. Like they're just trying to I don't know, dude. I just feel like I need something under my hand.
Yeah, I wanna have I would actually, like, want more weight,
Yeah.
like, in this
So
case. I might even put the last 2 on there.
yeah. So I don't
Screw
know.
it.
Yeah, just mess with it though. But I'm proud
No,
of you,
I
man.
like
You're
it.
grown up, getting a
It's
big boy
definitely
mouse.
getting yeah, thanks, man. It's definitely getting, more and more comfortable with the new settings and the new mouse, which I know I'm just gonna hopefully continue to have more success with, you know?
It's so funny
So
seeing you getting into gaming, dude. It's just something that I never associated with you. And you're like, I see you on there every night on the Call of Duty, man. And I've been trying to jump in when I can with
oh,
you,
yeah,
but
I'm just, getting my repetition in,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's just fun.
So
It's fun to see. Another thing I get to share with you.
that's right, man.
Hmm.
Been working hard on the solos and the multiplayer
Yeah, man.
and just grinding, just getting my own little I'm sure you've seen, like, the times we do play, like, I have my little tendencies where I like to click on the map, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
these are the places I know really well, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, that's how it
So
is. Everyone has their little spot. And
yeah,
it's funny when you play with different players because you're like, want to drop here, and they're like, what? No, what are you talking
yeah,
about,
yeah,
dude? Like, no,
yeah.
drop where,
Yeah, it's like,
where is
"Whoa,
that?
didn't know that
What
was,
is
like,
it?
such a bad
Yeah.
idea."
It's like, oh God, sorry. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I've got like 15 wins dropping here, but we'll do what you want to do, Mister Zero
yeah.
Wins. I got a couple work buddies that are like that. They're just like, what are you talking about? Drop at hills. Who drops at hills? It's a terrible idea. How many wins do you
Yeah.
have? How many wins I have? Okay. Hills
To
is
be
a bad
honest,
idea.
like so when I play solos, like, a couple times like hills, I usually like to drop at hills. But then when I was been playing solos, like, I've seen a couple people go to hill sometimes, so then it's when you change where you're going.
Yeah.
So then I ended up at park one time, and I actually, like, when I play solos, I actually like going to park because not a lot of people like going there,
Yeah.
and there's usually, like, 3 boxes there guaranteed and, like, a buy station and, like, and you can kind of perch up top and like look around for a little while before the circle closes, and then you can make your run. And I usually stay alive pretty long because of that. And like, I usually have pretty good money and guns and whatnot. I'm good. I don't even really need a loadout at that point.
Yeah.
So, and I just try to stay alive.
Yeah.
So
That's the
it
goal.
works.
Be the last one standing.
That's right, man. Oh, but Jesus Christ. I mean, that's where we go to escape from all the BS that's going on in the world. I mean, we're into our
Mhm.
second presidential debate right now, and it's like, I mean, I would say, I guess I'd say it's a slight improvement. Maybe we got the upperclassmen actually
Yeah.
discussing, and we had the lowerclassmen last week, or at least one of them.
Yeah.
It was basically
It's
just making a mockery of this thing.
yeah, I mean the presidential debate was, I mean, we try to stay away from politics as best we can. We try to stay neutral, which is just mainly for me personally. I just, it's none of anyone's business what my
Yeah.
political view is. Um, and it's very sensitive right now, right? Like if you're like it's something
Oh
that
yeah,
right
for
now
sure.
more so than ever, you make one comment to a friend that's on the other side, and your friendship's over. Like
Yeah.
so it's just something that like I just try. I personally value my friendships more than their political views. So it's just easier not to even go there with the majority of my friends.
Yeah, especially with
Um,
friends. I mean, it doesn't do you any favors,
yeah.
really,
So,
you know?
but I can openly say again, my personal opinion. The presidential debate from both sides was probably one of the most embarrassing moments in American history.
Oh, for
It
sure.
was
For
just
sure.
two grown ass men acting like children fighting over a Lego or something. It's
Yeah, I
just
mean, it's
like,
just the
I,
slander is just ridiculous. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
and
It's just like it's become like, "Oh, let me figure out what I can slander you for rather than tell people what I can do for them."
yeah,
You
and
know?
we,
And
dude,
it's
we
like,
we talked about this months ago now in an
yeah,
episode when I came across that Trump
right, the commercial.
commercial, and it was like it literally, dude. I gotta find it and we'll post it on our Instagram or something, but it literally, dude, is designed to look like a horror movie trailer. It's like,
Yeah.
when did we get to that point? Like I just remember back in the day, and we're old farts now, but like Bill Clinton and even
Yeah.
Bush, they were very opposite, but they pointed out the flaws in each other, but their main focus was
But
what
in a
they were
very
gonna do.
professional and also respectable way. Like,
Yeah,
they did it through a disagreement,
yeah,
and they were way more accurate facts than what are being called facts today, either on
yeah,
both sides,
yeah.
you know?
They
But
would
it's
they
just
would talk about the negative things they did in their work, where these
right.
guys are going at each other for like personal traits, things like that, where like Trump's always attacking Joe Biden's, he's got dementia or whatever, and Biden's attacking Trump for being racist and all that, which unfortunately, he's Trump doesn't help himself with that, but it's just like they're attacking things about each other that have nothing to do with what their focuses are on making the country better. And I just feel
Yeah,
like
no.
back in the day, it would be more of like, oh, he supports this, which is not good, but it would be something that directly affected the country, right? Where I'm gonna say this is probably gonna come out wrong and not sound right, but like the whole racist thing with Trump, which I mean, it's kind of hard to say he's not racist, but like attacking that continuously, it doesn't it just is like it there's more important things to focus on. Like, yeah, I'm not saying that's not an
Right.
important thing, but when all you do is see red and you attack that same thing, the things that are important. See, I don't want. That's where I'm going to say this wrong, because I don't want to say more important, because racism is extremely important. But when you just attack that same thing over and over again, the other issues that person is doing or causing go unnoticed, and you might
Yeah.
have that one person that is racist that's like, well, I don't give a shit. I'm racist. Trump's racist. I'm going to vote for Trump. We're the same person. But if you talk about that other thing, that person might go, yeah, you know what? I'm racist. This dude's racist, but I really don't like the fact that this dude's going to do this. So I'm not going to, like you have to not focus on one thing. Am I making sense when I'm trying to say? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I probably should have used something else besides the racist thing, but
No, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
No, you're making sense. I
I feel
understand.
like they both do this where they just attack the same thing that
Yeah.
has somewhat to do with the political side, but there's more important things that should be being talked about to get those votes from those other sides that you're losing, and it goes both ways. It really does,
Well,
you
yeah, I
know.
mean, think about the fact that, like, that how many questions were asked that went unanswered,
Oh
you know?
God,
And that's kind of exactly what you're saying. It's like, these are topics we need to be discussing, that's why these questions are being asked, and you're totally not answering them because you're trying to take a jab at the other person by, "Yeah, I understand you asked this question, but I really wanna get this in
yeah,
because I really need to say this because this is how I'm gonna try to bury him and or her, and then, this is how I'm gonna be able to get my point across,"
yeah,
you know? And I can't leave here without getting my point across, which is sad because it's like you said, we're sidestepping the real issues that are facing this country, and we're not talking about them, so we really don't know who's qualified to deal with them
yeah.
as a
Thank you.
president or a vice
You
president.
explain that much better than I did.
And so it's like we're all trying to decipher who's more qualified to deal with stuff, but no one's answering the real questions of the things we actually need to deal with.
Yes,
And
and
it's like they're trying to do whatever they can, almost like a pissing contest in the 8th grade
mhm,
to see who's the biggest and baddest on the basketball court or the blacktop, and it doesn't matter. It
y-
doesn't matter. You gotta have empathy for the other side and realize that you have difference of opinion and you can disagree, but you all have to do it with one priority in mind, and that's leading the American people.
yes,
That's it.
nailed it, my friend. Um, and this is what scares me about that. Why can two 35-year-old dads that are, just your day-to-day people, we're nothing special. We have, our jobs and our friendships and stuff, but we're no celebrities or political figures. We're just your average everyday people, right? Why can
Yeah.
we see and realize that, but the two people that are the good, one of these guys is going to be the person that runs this country, can't see that? Like, it's really alarming. And that's where, like,
Yeah.
you hear it often where people are saying, out of everyone in the entire country, these are the two guys. These are our two best options, and it really, like,
No,
it's
I know.
it's concerning. And I'm trying to stay with the fact of, like, I'm very neutral. I listen to everything on both sides. I don't jump to a conclusion or an answer. I do that with a lot of things in life because I grew up opposite. I grew up with, the second I get a thought, I blurt it out or whatever, and got me in a lot of trouble. And now I very much, like, I listen when things are said. I don't state my opinion right away. I think on it. I let
Yeah.
it process. I'll do some research, things like that. I do that with everything. I do that with work and everything now. It's like I'll have these meetings at work, and my supervisor will say something to, like, the group of us, and they'll be like, "Well, what's your opinion?" And everyone will give their opinion, and she won't ask me for mine because she knows me well enough. She knows that I don't have an opinion right now. I took what you said. I need to think about it. I need to register it, see what the
Exactly, yeah.
change. Mostly it's
Yeah.
like it changes in our processing and stuff like that. So I need
Exactly.
to
Like, how
evaluate
can
how is
you
that
how
going to
can you
affect
make that
me.
decision so quickly or that you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Or that
So
determination so
and
quickly.
and I learned that through her. She's actually one that taught me to kind of do that more. So I do that very heavily with politics because
Well, it's a
there's
big
so
deal.
much, so many underlayers, right? Like, whatever's being
Right.
talked about, there's so much underneath it, and it's been like that for a long time. Where, like, it happens a lot with the props, where it's like, oh, vote for this prop, this amazing thing,
Well,
but
there's
then
a
there's all
trickle
these
down
little
effect,
layers
right?
underneath it that makes it not really that amazing, you
Well, it's
know?
the trickle down effect. It's like you can't just vote for the sake of voting and not know what you're voting for or what you're filling in or who it is. Even on the local level, like you said, like props and the measures and the local officials who are going to be making some decisions in your local community because it all has a trickle down effect. Like, okay, you might think that, okay, this person stands for this, but they also stand for this, this, and that maybe you don't like. And you got to think about when this person gets in office, that means that they could do this, that, and the other thing, and that's going to affect me in this way, that way, and the other way. And I don't really like that. So even though I really like this one thing about them, like I need to look around some more.
Hmm.
because it's gonna have everything has its trickle down effect. The same way, when Trump got into office, like he was able to repeal certain acts and sign different bills into action and do all these other things that the Obama administration never did. And then you're thinking like, oh, things are going to get reversed if Biden gets back in there and whatnot. Well, those are the trickle down effects that
Hmm.
happen with who you vote into office or who takes office. And it's just like you got to realize like there's certain people that don't really care how certain things affect other people as long as the things that they say they're going to do affect them in a certain way.
Yeah.
They're happy about it. And that's the morally you have to be able to honestly like swallow that
Yeah.
if rather than do what's right for everyone, not just yourself.
Yeah. And that's why, like I've said in the past, I have such a hard time with politics because for me, I see it like you should be making the decisions on what's best for the country and for the people of the country. But when it comes to these elections and stuff, you know, their opinions change on certain things, but it's not changing because their opinion changed. It's changing because if they say this, it's going to benefit them and get them some more votes. And it's like, I think that's where, in my head, the problem really lies is the whole uh, two sided thing. It doesn't work anymore. It might have
No.
worked back in the day when times are very different, but it just the world has changed so drastically from when the Declaration of Independence was signed that it's not working like it should. It's very much you're saying and doing things to get a vote instead of saying and doing things to help the country.
Yeah. Well, I want to go
Um,
back to something you said though too. Like you mentioned like how these two guys are like our only options for president, right?
mhm.
So I put something out on my Facebook a couple days ago or last week after the debate, and I was basically just saying like, so like if the youth of our nation is like the future, right? Why are our only options for president people who should be well into retirement?
Yeah,
You got Trump who's 74, Biden who's 77.
yeah. Well, that's
Like,
what's
have you ever
wild with
heard of a
Biden. Like Biden didn't want to do this. He
well, hang
didn't
on,
want
but
to.
have you ever heard of like a top like business or Fortune 500 company? Like you think if Apple loses their CEO tomorrow, that they're gonna go look for a guy in their mid 70s to take over Apple?
No, yeah,
Like, no,
no,
they're not.
no.
You think like Amazon, same thing. You think they're gonna be looking for a guy like 75, 77 years old? Like,
Yeah,
hey,
no.
why don't you come around to Amazon? We think you can take us into the future, man. It's
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
not a
You were born
chance.
before a typewriter was even
Yeah, no
around.
one's
Let's
looking to hire an
come
aging
hire the
CEO.
most technologically advanced company. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
what you're
it's like
saying.
until there's like a massive generational swing, like nothing's really gonna change. Because it's like you've got people who I mean, I hate to say it, but like if you're in your 70s, like you came up at a rough time where you've been exposed to so much racism and
Yeah,
like like I hope there's a lot of people that have grown out of it or whatever, or see the light nowadays, but it's like you're almost conditioned to like think a certain way when you grew up in a certain time. And
yeah,
it's like you think about people, you know, the generation that came after the baby boomers essentially, who are like in their 40s now, like very well-rounded professionals who grew up at a time who weren't like racism was much less than it was for the generation before them.
mhm,
And they've been sort of conditioned to like accept more people and accept all. So that's when change is going to happen.
yeah,
When you start putting these people responsible for making the decisions that
yeah.
really impact everyone in this country. Not people who still are from the other generation. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there's it's just a good point, dude. These two guys are they're really truly oblivious to how the world works today with the youth and even you know our generation and even a little before us um because first off these are two guys. Joe Biden not so much, but they've had a lot of money. They've had a lot of
Yeah,
money for a very long time. I
right.
mean, I can barely remember back in the day when I was stoked to get $20 allowance. now I have
Oh
a
yeah,
job that pays
sure.
me enough to where I don't really have to stress. I can kind of get, if I see something I like, I don't have to think like, oh my God, that's $100. Like I'll never. So like
Yeah.
that,
Gotta
and
save
that
up for
when
that
you
one.
go through that change and you get used to a certain thing, you tend to forget what it used to be like. And like these guys have had money for years. Like they don't know, they can't relate to
Yeah,
people
yeah.
that have that live paycheck to paycheck or work their ass off for minimum wage and things like that. And I think that has a lot to do with it too, where it's like
Yeah.
if you can't relate, you can't help.
No. No. You're
So
just gonna I mean, you're certainly not gonna help, but, like, you actually might contribute more to the problem,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, and I think that does fall more on Trump because the dude. I mean, fuck, give me $1 million to start a company, I'd probably become a millionaire too. I mean that's a huge advantage that people don't get.
Well, his the
I
million
mean,
that he got would be equivalent if somebody handed you $10,000,000 today,
yeah,
you know?
like he was helped out in a way that is very very rare. Like he
Dude,
doesn't
that was, like, in
know
the early
what.
1970s too, so it's like I said, $1,000,000 back then
Yeah.
was leaps and bounds to what $1,000,000 can give you today.
Yeah. So unless you are the type of millionaire that there are some out there that will, go live the normal life for a while to understand it, which he never did and never would do.
Right.
You can't relate. You cannot help the middle class and the lower class people if you don't know what it's like to be that person.
No. No,
You don't
none
know what it's
whatsoever.
like to worry about how you're going to pay for rent. You can't help a
Well, I
person
mean,
like that.
but to be honest, like you can't help where you come from, and there's a lot of people who have never had to feel that way. That doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to lead or like relate. But what they do need to do is they have to have the ability to empathize with those type of people. They have to have the ability to actually want to understand
Yeah.
what it is they're coming from, and then hypothetically at least put yourself in their position, and then what kind of decisions would you make?
Yeah.
So now you can see what kind of decisions how these decisions are gonna impact us,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's where they differ. They never actually choose to put themselves in those position. It's like not everybody has to come from that walk of life, obviously, but,
Mhm.
you do have to have the ability to get down to that level to empathize with those people, and
Yeah.
that's really what Trump, like, he just doesn't care to do that whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think but again, it has to do with the fact that when you have that type of money, you don't care because you don't need to care. You know, like it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It just I'm probably getting off track a little bit, but I agree
We're
that
probably going too far with this whole political thing anyway.
yeah. Well,
We
it's just hard.
probably
It's hard to want to talk
shift
about it,
gears.
but want to be
Yeah, yeah.
like understandable for both sides, which especially nowadays where there's not. You say like we talked offline a little bit where it's just so sensitive where if you say one little thing, like it can be a casual comment about like, oh, I if I was to say to a Republican friend of mine, oh, I don't really think Trump's game plan with the wall was a great idea. You're not going to have a conversation with that person. They're going to
You're not
come
gonna have
back
an
with,
intelligent response that
well,
sparks conversation, no.
yeah, it's not there. You're not gonna get a reply to that. Well, with like, well, why do you think that? You're gonna get this. Well, Joe Biden doesn't have a memory. He can't remember his last name. But it's both ways. It's both
Yeah.
ways. If a Trump supporter came up to a Democrat and says, gosh, Joe Biden is thinking about raising taxes on the wealthy. I mean, I don't know if that's really fair. You know what you're gonna get? Well, Trump's racist. He won't. He
Yeah.
won't. He won't
Right,
say.
exactly.
He
Yeah.
he literally said "Proud Boys for life." Like you don't.
Yeah, I
There's
mean, our
no.
country's
There's
never
no
been more
middle
divided
ground.
right now. Our
There's
country's never been more divided right now.
yeah.
And
It's
and
like
and because of that, it's, like, so divided that people can't even, like, peek to see the other side. They just wanna sit back and keep you shooting arrows and shit, It's like it's ridiculous,
yeah, and
you
I
know?
think that's the hardest part is it's so bad right now. You can't have a
Well, I
an
mean,
adult conversation with
for sure.
the other side.
Well, here's a perfect example, the drama that's going on with Spotify and Joe Rogan. It's like you've got like Joe Rogan has built himself a platform with over 1,500 episodes on his own as an individual podcast
Mhm.
guru, basically lit the world on fire with podcasts. Like, we're doing a fucking podcast. Like, there's podcasts fucking everywhere
Yeah.
nowadays, you know? He basically, it was the catalyst of that. And the reason people listen to Joe Rogan is because the freedom of speech, he's completely uncensored, and the ability to talk to anyone about anything in an open, trusted environment where it's like where we can have those intelligent conversations to really ask, well, why do you feel that way? Or like, why do you say it? Why do you stand for that? Or why do you, what brings you to that conclusion? Or, you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like, rather than just fight about it, like we see two people doing on TV this week and last week, it's just like, they're not having an intelligent debate about hard conversations. They're just bickering and trying to bury the other person with slander.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like here, and then we've got people who work for Spotify that are basically, if you don't give us control to censor what he's saying on our platform, then we're not going to work for you anymore. And it's just like, well, that's what he stands for. He's always stayed for being uncensored and being a neutral. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you had to catch me up to speed at the whole Spotify Joe Rogan thing before, because I've just been a little out of the loop. But this is complete bullshit in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
First off, the foundation that you work for a music platform. Music is one of the
right.
biggest aspects of freedom of speech.
Totally,
Like,
totally. And that's what's so
if
entertaining about it.
yeah, it's
If
like if
everything
you
was so
have
censored, nothing would be entertaining.
yeah, I mean,
Are we gonna
if
censor movies next?
why
Because, like, you know?
well, it's yeah, and it's a complete fucking joke. If you're doing that, then I mean, you better get rid of Leonard Skinner off of your freaking
Yeah.
platform. You better get rid of, I mean, 50% of the rappers out there that degrade
Rap, hip
women.
hop, like,
I'm pretty
now
sure
things are
there's
too vile, you
yeah,
know?
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some of the Korean pop guys that are very popular. Probably want to get rid of them because North Korea shit or whatever.
It's like we're going
Like
back to
that's
the
a
Elvis
joke,
Presley
dude.
days where you couldn't show him below here because it was too scandalous on TV, so it's like,
Yeah,
do we gotta take away anything that references sex either, you
yeah,
know?
and
It's like, come on.
exactly, and I mean the foundation of this, which I feel like there's more to it. It's either a publicity stunt or something. Is you're telling me you signed this guy to what was it like $100 million, and
Oh, yeah.
you guys didn't think to talk about this? Like that's what's making this complete bullshit to me. You're telling me that you said, "Hey, we're going to give you $100 million to bring your show and all your past episodes to Spotify. Sign here." And
Yeah.
he signed and you signed, and then after the fact you thought, "Oh, but by the way, we don't
Yeah,
like
yeah,
these few
yeah,
episodes, so we're going to pull them and
yeah.
we're
There's
cool
no
with that,
way
right?" Like,
there's no way
you're
they never
telling me
had
you
that
didn't talk about that before
yeah.
you signed this contract?
I'm sure
Like
Rogan's like, "Yeah, as
that's
long as I still get full control, everything's cool," you know?
yeah, that's some craziness, and that's why I feel like this whole thing. There's more to it, dude. There has to
Well, it's
be.
almost
There's no
resembling
way.
some of the shit that we've been talking about in the gaming world with people jumping from platform to platform, because it's just like,
Yep.
at the same time, like, Rogan could just be like, "Alright, well, whatever, peace. Here's, like, okay, I did a month, here's $98 million back, and I'll just go
Yeah.
do my thing, and fuck you guys," you
Yeah.
know?
And I
Or
mean,
just keep the
I
money,
mean, the money he
keep
made
contract.
from independent was
Oh,
more
yeah.
than he would ever need. Like this was just icing on the cake for him. This
You don't think Pandora will pay him $200 million just to, like, break his contract?
bro.
You know?
Someone will. I mean, look at the. I mean, he has a massive following, dude.
Well, but
I
that's
mean,
why, I mean, there's also a theory out there that this is just guerrilla marketing by Spotify.
yeah, and I
You
think
know?
that makes more sense. Like there,
Well, I
I
think that's
just
what it's
dude,
gonna end up feeling like, because I don't think anything's really gonna come of this. I think with
that's
people,
like,
even if they
dude.
are pissed off, like, okay, they'll eventually get over it or not work for us anymore, and there'll be plenty of people that would be happy to come work for Spotify, you know?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah, like it's serious. Like I could think of it. My mind is exploding with
Oh,
like
with thousands of theories.
scenarios, right?
Yeah.
Like this is like going to an ice cream parlor and asking for an ice cream cone, and them handing you an ice cream cone,
Yeah, and then you'd be like,
and then
"Where's
you
my
being like,
fucking cup?"
"Where's ice cream?" Oh, well, you said ice cream cone,
Yeah.
so we're not really we don't really like that flavor, so we're not gonna give it to you.
They want to censor Joe Rogan, but I think there was like 500 million downloads of Cardi B's WAP,
I
you know?
dude, don't. Yeah, like seriously, like I'm all for it. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Like that is the
entertaining.
raunchiest shit I've ever heard.
I
But
love
you
it.
know what? I love it because you know what it is? It's fucking freedom of speech. You're doing what you want to
Exactly.
do.
Exactly. But
It's
we need to
causing.
censor Joe Rogan, dude.
Yeah,
We need to censor
like
Joe Rogan. We need to control who he brings on his show. You know?
yeah, dude. This is it has to be guerrilla marketing or something. There's something that we're missing. There's no way they didn't talk about this before they inked $100 million contract. Like you
Yeah, and they got.
got
I'm sure they got. It's like, well, why do you have that dude 6'9" on your platform, but you can't have you know, what's up with Joe Rogan, man?
yeah, it's politics. It just ties back to politics, and
It does.
you know he's
It
had.
does.
I mean, we've talked about. I've talked about the crazy people, his conspiracy theorists with history that he's had on the show that bring up some interesting things, but they're a
It's
couple of
just
them are on the
theories.
brink of nut jobs.
Talking about it. Half
Yeah,
the
but
time
it's
they're
like
both sharing a joint and just fucking talking, you
yeah,
know?
and it's been brought up with Joe. I think like the concern is the spreading of misinformation, which
Right.
it's been said. I'll give credit to what the dude on Barstool. I always forget his
Yeah.
name, but uh, you know,
Yeah.
he said it pretty. I don't think you can say it any better than him. No one's watching Joe Rogan for factual information.
Right.
You know, like no one's sitting there watching Joe Rogan and something comes out of Joe Rogan's mouth and they're going, "Oh my god, that's real.
Yeah.
I need to go do that." Or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, like no one's doing that.
Exactly.
So,
If it's wrong, you should be like, no, that's not true,
yeah,
and you move
so
on. You know,
I know
I'm
like
sure
there's been
we
like
said some untrue shit. You know?
yeah. Like I know there's been fact checking like ideas and stuff, but I mean if you really want like the easy solution to this is throw up a fucking censor at the start to say, whatever in the show may not be factual. This is just open conversation, whatever. If you but the people threatening to walk out, fucking leave. You shouldn't be
No.
working for a platform that's based off of music, which is like I said, one of the biggest ways of freedom of speech, to voice freedom of speech. Get out of there. You
Oh, I
shouldn't
know
work there.
for sure.
So
When it comes to fact checking, I kind of believe it's like I'd be like, good, check my facts because I want you to think about what I'm talking about. So
yeah,
that means you're going to look it up, and then you're going to look it up for yourself, and you're probably going to learn something when you look it up.
yeah,
You know, so go ahead and fact check. If I was Joe Rogan, I'd be like, great, I'm not always right, but you should fact check, and here's why. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like think about it.
But I think like the foundation of them wanting to censor certain things after they sign this contract, that's what is complete bullshit. There's
Yeah,
no way they
yeah,
didn't talk about this. There's no
exactly,
way.
exactly,
No way.
exactly, dude. I'm totally right there, right there.
Inc- That's almost
I know, but
crazier
it
than
all
this presidential stuff.
exactly, but it all. I mean, but it, like you said, it all ties back to politics because
Because
it's
well,
like
that's the thing. The stuff that they're wanting to censor is the far right guests that he's had on.
exactly, exactly.
Which
And it's like everybody, right, wrong, or indifferent, everyone deserves an equal platform,
yeah,
and it's like, and we need to hear them out just as much as we want to be heard as, opposers or whatever it may be,
yeah. I
right?
think
So,
I think you have the right and should have the right to be as crazy and outlandish as you can and want to be, as long as it's not a negative impact to another person.
yeah,
If they're not go
everybody,
if they're going on there and wearing white hoods and
yeah,
talking about
absolutely,
the greatness of hanging people, that's one thing. But if you're
right,
going on there just talking some out complete gibberish ridiculousness, have at it.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly. I mean, and like I said, everyone needs to be heard. So, actually informed opinions can be formulated. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like you can't just make an opinion based on what the people that you want to listen to, who think like you,
Yeah.
you know? It's like
Well,
you
that's
kinda hear
that's
both
the
sides
great
so you
thing.
can really,
That's the
you know,
great thing
make
about
yourself.
growing. Yeah, and that's the great thing about growing and getting older, which I've learned a lot as I've gotten older is you form your opinion by taking information from different people and coming up with what you decide. That's why with politics I'm very reserved because I watch Fox News and CNN because they're so polar different. Give me,
Yep.
and I have the other sources too. It's like I want to hear everything from both sides, what one side thinks of the other, and vice versa, and then I form my opinion. And I can't do that if I don't have the 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 little bits to the most outlandish bits on both sides. It's like that with more than just politics, but it's like you can't you can't have a real true solid opinion on something if you don't have information on it. And the only way to get the best information is to hear the different opinions on whatever
It's like you're more
the
likely
topic
to
is.
sound, for lack of a better word, stupid or basically misinformed, and that's gonna make you sound really stupid in front of other people.
Yeah. And,
You
and
know
and it's like this happens with me and my wife all the time because she's like crazy in the political stuff, right? And I'll be researching something, I'll hear something, and I'll bring it to her, and I'll be like, "Oh, did you hear about this?" And she'll go, "Well, yeah, but that's because of this, 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 and this." And it's like, shit, okay, I got to do more research on this. Give me a couple minutes. Didn't know all that, you know? It's like,
Mhm.
and that's right. Like to feed in what you're saying is like, if you don't do the research and get the other opposite opinions for you to make
Yeah,
you
gotta
sound like
dig.
an idiot.
Exactly. Exactly.
I will say the one last thing on the Joe Rogan thing. He has a big decision to make with this. If it's going to be as crazy as it is, because the reason Joe Rogan is as popular as he is isn't because he's Joe Rogan. It's the
Right.
fact that he has since day one done what he's wanted, when he's wanted, how he's wanted. It has had these outlandish people on his show, and when they're on there, if you listen to those conversations, he doesn't agree with them or things like that. He takes it in. He's very much
Yeah.
like, oh, that's interesting. Like you said, he asks, well, why do you think that? Why is that? Or that's fascinating.
Yeah.
He's never like,
It's almost
there.
like
I mean,
he's almost like really wants to learn. He wants to pick their brain,
yeah,
you know?
and that's what made him who he is. It's not the fact
Yeah.
that he's the dude from X Factor or whatever it was, or Fear Factor.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
it's
he walks
because
that line of just like it's almost like, okay, rather than something entertaining to something like, "Really? I can't believe we're talking about this topic." Like for instance, like, the pyramids or, all this other stuff that we've seen on that show.
yeah,
But, and then he'll talk to people who are like Mike Tyson, or uh, or Kelly Slater. It's like, and obviously when he's talking about Kelly Slater, you're hearing Kelly Slater's stories of surfing or almost dying, all
yeah,
that kind of stuff, which is nothing like, I mean, it's super entertaining, but it's not like we're talking about politics or we're talking about, if aliens are actually alive or somebody was abducted by aliens is telling a story. There's somewhat normal stuff, but then there's also some really far out there stuff, you know?
yeah.
That's what makes it so cool.
Yeah, and that's what makes it is it's a place where you can go to get some real shit.
Yeah.
Nothing that it's a place where you can go and you can get the content from the source, like the Snowden interviews, man. If anyone who
Oh,
hasn't watched those, you need to watch them. They
yeah.
are brilliant, and both of them are probably the only two times you'll hear Joe Rogan quiet for a long period of time because
Yeah.
he's just
Snowden talks for,
absorbing. Because
you know,
Snowden is so
so smart.
brilliant, man. Just what a brilliant person. But it's like
Yeah.
it's a place where you can go and you can get that information straight from the source. It's not going through a news outlet where they're giving you what they want to give you. You're getting what you're getting. And he has a big decision to make because if they are going to censor him and he allows it, that is going to
No,
bury him. It will
he's not gonna.
bury him. It's almost better to take the hit and drop the $100 million and go
Yeah,
back
like
to
I said, dude,
independent.
it's like kinda like the gaming, dude. There's way more platforms out there, and you don't think someone's gonna
Yeah.
pick him up the minute he
Oh
walks
yeah.
away. Now
Yeah.
that he's made a move to a platform, he's more likely to latch on to another if he leaves
Yeah.
and be able to
And
do whatever
he
he
could
wants.
go right back to YouTube and
Yeah,
do that with YouTube. I mean,
yeah, he can go
YouTube
right back to
gives
being
exclusive
independent too,
contracts. So,
you know? Oh,
yeah.
YouTube will take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure YouTube, I mean, I don't think YouTube really cares because like you still get the Joe Rogan clips and everything, so they're still making their money off of
Well,
him.
yeah, they're still getting the YouTube videos of his new episodes from Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I that's the only thing is where if he did leave Spotify, I don't think I think if I was YouTube, I'd be like, well, you're gonna post your shit here anyway, so I'm not gonna pay you to do it.
That's true.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, like Pandora is a great one. iTunes is a little bit more reserved. I don't think they'd take the chance, but it gives places like Pandora, which Spotify has really buried in many ways. Like Spotify kind of came out of
Yeah.
nowhere and really took
That would
over a
totally
large portion where I mean, before Spotify, all you heard was iTunes or Pandora.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I'm a Spotify guy. I don't have. I think you could probably. Oh no, you can't see it, but I have a monitor right here, and Spotify is right on the bottom of it. But
That's so cute.
I like how it's designed. I like how easy it is to find and navigate through music and stuff. More so than Pandora. Like it's. So yeah, Pandora would be a great one where, you know, get some viewers back or listeners back. So, but yeah,
maybe go to Twitch or something. You never know.
Yeah, that would be quite the move. So I don't know. Twitch ain't the place anyone wants to go to right now, dude, because they kind of do what they want. We've learned that with Dr. Disrespect and some others. Now, just to bring it up, just because you mentioned it, they just so there's this dude. I can't think of his name. Bellor or something like that. He's just this fucking crazy dude.
Not be that important.
No, he's not. But he's notorious for just like going ballistic, and he was permanently banned a while ago for self-harm because he like bashed a keyboard over his head or something. It was like the final straw. Like he'd been banned multiple times. They permanently banned him, and then like yesterday, the day before, they just out of nowhere decided to unpermanently ban him. No explanation or anything. It's like they have no idea what to do when it comes to banning.
None of their moves make any sense.
No, it's like, and this was completely out of nowhere. It's just one day the guy's fucking channel is back up and running, and you're just like,
what?
Like nothing. And I mean, maybe I haven't checked today. I've been pretty busy. Maybe more news has come out about it. But if you follow this dude and like, I mean, he's one of those guys that people would come in to the chat and drop the N-bomb all the time, donate and write out, you know, the N-word a million times, and he'd let it fly, and it was very careless. But it just like it just goes to show that they really have no idea how to run their company.
They created something that they don't know how to control.
Like there's I just feel like it should be very black and white. You went against the terms of service, you're done. Nade Shot, we talked about this. Nade Shot had Dr. Disrespect's voice on the other day. Nade Shot's a big, well-known guy. You know what they did? So we had two people this happened to the other day. This is This is what is making me just mind blown about the whole Twitch thing. I talked about this briefly, but I'll go over it real quickly again. We had Mtash is a middle range streamer. He's known. He's got his following. It's a few 100,000. Nothing crazy like in the millions, but he's popular. He got in a game. He got matched in a game with this dude that's been permanently banned. It wasn't planned or anything, right? They talked through chat or whatever. Twitch bans him because he had a banned streamer show up on his stream, even though he had no control over it. They randomly matched in a game.
Yeah.
You know? Banned for 5 days. Now, at day 3, he appealed, and at day 3, they did reverse the ban. So I'll give them that. But here's the thing. Nade Shot gets teamed with Dr. Disrespect, knows about it, knows it's going to happen, voices on chat, everything. Not only does he not get banned, do you know what they do? They fucking update their terms of service to clarify how it's okay and not okay for a banned player to be on their platform. They updated the verbiage on the terms of service. So basically what they did is they said, you know, Nade Shot's like one of our biggest guys. Let's not ban him. Let's just reword the terms of service, and we'll use that as an excuse as to why we didn't ban him.
Yeah.
So now they're basically saying, because it was a tournament, and that was what the team layout mapped Dr. Disrespect and Nade Shot into the same lobby, it was okay. They fucking changed the terms of service around it to save him instead of giving him a ban,
That's
which
crazy.
is crazy. And it's, I mean,
Favoritism is what it is.
it's total
You know?
favoritism. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Nate Shot is one of my favorite streamers. The dude's super cool. He's the part owner of 100 Thieves esports team and everything. Like he's doing big things. He's fun to watch. He's been part of Twitch since before they did the name change to Twitch. Like the dude is old school, but it still comes down to where it should be black or white. You know what, Nate Shot? You've been here since day one, but you fucked up. Here's your 3-day ban. We'll see you in 3 days.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
But no, instead they go, let's spend thousands of dollars rewriting our fucking terms of service. Like, are you kidding me? It's just mind blowing. Like, I'm not saying, like, of course, I don't want Nate Shot banned. I absolutely not. Like, Nate Shot's, I actually give mad props for going through with it, knowing that there was the risk of him getting banned. But
he probably talked to somebody, it's like, yo, this is gonna happen.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Who knows? He may or may not have.
Yeah, but it's just like, it just goes to show, like, they need to figure their shit out, because right now they look really, really bad, dude.
But
really
that's kind of
bad.
like that's kind of like how the NFL used to roll, right? Like Goodell used to just kind of like make.
Yeah.
They'd be like, I feel like it's gotten more consistent over the last like 3 or 4 years, but like way before that, punishment was very lopsided. It seemed very like favored towards like certain stars and whatnot. Like, I mean, so how many people like with Deflategate, some of the things Brady pulled were like always saying that shit about Goodell. Oh, Goodell's never gonna throw the hammer at Brady, all that kind of crap, but then they would throw it at other people hella hard and give them like 10 game suspensions or whatever. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's everywhere. Though,
it's just it's mind boggling, because like, it's like how I always cry in our fantasy football league over rule change and stuff, because money's involved, and that's the only reason. It's like, because money's involved. This is people's careers, and you're picking and choosing whose career you're gonna affect.
Exactly.
When they did the same thing as someone else.
Yeah, no, and they've been more consistent in the NFL over, like I said, over the last 3 or 4 years with.
Well, I think the Ray Rice thing really was the game changer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's become now like the type of offense, obviously it like ranges from domestic violence to like DUI or whatever it is. And you're starting to see punishments for similar offenses equal what they were to previous people, no matter who you are. And then second offenses for the same thing is going to mean so many more games. And so, I mean, that's been much more consistent, which people understand the ramifications of certain actions more. And it's more or less accepted and understood what those punishments are going to be when they're handed out, because they're following some sort of hierarchy now.
Yeah. And look what it does on the other side. The community or the fan base, they're not throwing a bunch of fits, because there's nothing to throw a fit about, because it's all black and white, or getting pretty close to black and white,
Oh, for sure. And the interesting thing here, the most interesting thing that's starting to happen now with this whole fining thing or punishment, and I bring it to fines because it's the latest topic around COVID in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's it started with coaches not wearing their masks on the sidelines, then to players not wearing their masks at certain fundraising events that involve the NFL Shield. You know what I mean? And now it's turning to, okay, well, all these teams, particularly the Tennessee Titans and some of these other teams are popping up with positive tests. And like, I think there's 20 people within the Titans organization right now that have positive tests. And now they're getting tested on a day-to-day basis. And these numbers have crept up to 20 as of this day. And with the 14-day exposure and incubation period, there's fear that that number can go from 20 to 40 pretty quickly, and then from 40 to 80, pretty quickly, and so the league is scrambling to, what do we do? What do we do to make sure that, we're testing, we didn't do a bubble. So what are we going to do to make sure that these numbers don't increase and we don't have a full-blown outbreak before we have to cancel the season? And so I think you're starting to hear a lot more conversation about, okay, well, these are the rules, and then people need to understand the rules, or you're going to get fined, and you're going to get fined big time. And, so it's like, yeah, but I don't know. I don't is that really gonna solve the problem, or is there gonna just be a ton of lying going on? Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we can just conceal this because he's so asymptomatic, we could just pretend like he's not positive," you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are we gonna do here?
Yeah.
You know, and people we're
And
gonna
that's where
pay
it gets
certain
really
people
scary,
we're
dude.
gonna pay certain people to shut up,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because we need, Derrick Henry on Sunday.
Yep.
We can't afford him to not play just because he's asymptomatic and he's got some fucking invisible disease. You know what I mean? It's like he's got to get out there and he's got to score 3 fucking touchdowns and I got to have 227 yards on my fantasy team. We got to get this done now, you
Yeah.
know?
You sounded like me on Saturday when we got the Saints scare with their. Luckily, it came back. I
Oh,
guess it was a false positive, but the what was it? The fullback tested positive, and he sat next to Kamara on the
oh yeah.
plane, and Kamara's on my fantasy team. The dude's putting up fucking 30 points a week. I'm like, this.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, this better not. No, this will
Hold
ruin
your
my
breath.
whole season, man.
Hold your breath.
Yeah. Hold your breath.
It's kind of like okay, Stephon Gilmore of the Patriots just tested positive. And it's like, oh, Cam Newton tested positive last week and missed the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's been some negative tests in between there, but now you're negative enough to get on a plane and go play a game, and then the minute you come back, you test positive. So, where did you pick this up? Is this from Cam Newton and it incubated, and did you actually pass this to other people on the field and your other teammates in the locker room and on the plane, or is this something you picked up at the airport, or maybe at like a restaurant while you were in town, or who knows?
Yeah.
You know, but I think that things are getting enough out of hand within the individual teams within the league that I don't understand why the NFL hasn't completely like came down and said absolutely zero fans in the stands, because there's been a number
Yeah,
of
that's the
like,
crazy one for me.
yeah, there's been a number of teams in certain cities that have allowed like 25% capacity, which is 10,000 people
Yeah.
in your fucking stadium. And it's just like, okay, things are starting to get out of hand. Let's just eliminate the easiest potential risk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, because we've probably got 28 teams who are not allowing um, fans. I don't know these numbers like Joe Rogan to be exact. I think it's like 28 teams not doing it and 4 who are allowing it.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Could be different numbers. But it's just, I mean, that seems to me like the most easiest no-brainer. Like, let's
Yeah.
just eliminate certain like, more people coming to our facility,
Yeah.
like, because that means if we're gonna house 10,000 people and host them on a Sunday, we're gonna actually have to bring in more staff to manage that from a security standpoint, food, what are we gonna do with all this kinda stuff? And yeah, the players might not be crossing paths, but it's just all in all irresponsible, you know?
Yeah.
So
But the problem is then that is less money.
yeah, exactly. But
So
you also get less problems, and guess what? If your star players can't play, you're gonna get less money regardless
yeah.
because you ain't going anywhere,
Yeah.
you know? So, like, you think
Exactly.
the Patriots would have won that game if Cam Newton played? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. I mean,
He's been
Julian Edelman had the worst game of his life, but, like, Cam Newton, might have put a different spark of that team. Let's put it that way, you know?
yeah, especially with how he's been playing. Um
Yeah.
yeah, it just
When you bench a quarterback at halftime, like, things aren't going well, you know?
yeah. Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks, these Niners, man, rough times.
Yeah. I think Jimmy's gonna play this week, I honestly do. If not, I think CJ won the job back with the last drive he had,
Yeah,
you
that I
know?
mean, he did even the 2-point conversion wasn't his fault. That was a total Kittle drop. I mean,
Yeah.
he really was rolling, man. He looked good.
Well, can I be perfectly honest, dude? Like, my assessment of Nick Mullins, like, I don't know, I've never seen the hype on Nick Mullins. Like, I don't know if people are just looking at the stat sheet so
Yeah.
much and are just going off that, because I've never seen like, "Oh my god, this guy's an amazing quarterback and he's really good." Like even last week when we were playing the Giants, um, I think I put like even in our little group chat, like Like, it seems to me like Nick Mullins is throwing the ball 1 second too late every time.
Yeah.
Because, like, in the first half, he had, like, so many, like, passes that, like, should have been easily caught, but, like, they were, like, a little behind the guy.
Yeah.
Or, it was at the guy, but, like, if he'd thrown it a second earlier, the window wouldn't have closed, like, the DB wouldn't have been right there to, like, knock it away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
It's like he was holding on to the ball. So it's like I didn't really see, like, what he was doing that well, and it's like, maybe we're just a really good team, he's in a really good system, and he's winning games, and so people think he's doing well, but I didn't see something spectacular.
No, I think it's just that. I think I think it's the combination of that and just, he came in after Jimmy G and he did decent and it was a change
Yeah.
of pace. So
Yeah.
people latch onto that, Oh, Jimmy was struggling. Mullins came in and owned the game, and they forget the fact of who he played and things like that, right? Like he played the Jets.
But do you remember, like, that after Jimmy rolled his ankle and he played the rest of the first half, Jimmy balled out when he
Yeah.
was hurt.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy played his best football I think I've seen him play as a Niner in that whole second quarter with a fucked up ankle. And it's like, I think it's because he realized, okay, I can't scramble. I need to get the ball out quick. And when he got the fucking ball out quick, things actually worked out well.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I caught that very much because it pissed me off because I am in the same boat as you are with Mullins as I am with Jimmy G, where I still personally haven't seen what we're paying him for, but it's there. It is there. He just needs to figure it out on a consistent basis, and I think the injuries don't help.
Yeah.
The ups and downs, but
he does come back, whether it's this week or next week, that like he balls out again and like just totally puts this conversation to rest because it's hard when like, okay, he went down with the ACL and then basically we had 13 games of like backup quarterbacks and Nick Mullins had a chunk of those, CJ had a chunk of those. And then Jimmy comes back for an entire season by himself. So we haven't really had that side-by-side comparison again until right now.
Yeah.
So now we've had the side-by-side comparison and Mullins won a game and then Mullins did really shitty in a game. And so it's like, if Jimmy comes out and balls out, it's like, okay, well, we know
I think that's where for me, I'm kind of on the same page as what Shanahan kind of said. Like, I don't see a quarterback discussion at all.
Yeah. No,
I mean, there's this quarterback discussion between the backups, but there's no quarterback discussion between Jimmy and the backups. Like,
no.
I almost feel like Mullins. I feel like he's in that bracket of a Fitzpatrick, where it's nice to have him. It's nice to have him when we need him, but we don't really need him every game.
Yeah,
It's one of those where he's good, but he just ain't quite good enough, to be that guy 24/7.
But see, I also feel like CJ's right there too. It's like CJ's another who lost his job because he got hurt and Mullins got shot and Mullins did well.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel like CJ's just as talented as Mullins.
That and the big thing with that, dude. No, the big thing with that for me is I feel like CJ and Mullins are very different quarterbacks. They're very different.
But like what they bring to the table is equal.
Yeah. So it's hard to judge who's better because it's like I feel like Mullins has a little bit better like accuracy and I think he has a stronger arm, but CJ obviously in that one series, like he has the better football brain.
Yeah, no. And I think, I mean, he did make a few mistakes, but it's like you got to give the guy a break. It's his first snap he's taken basically in like 2 years.
Yeah. And even with those mistakes, dude, like that drive was amazing, man. It was absolutely amazing.
Like he was slinging and getting the ball out quick.
And there was nothing he did wrong.
Yeah.
There was nothing he did. The only thing he did wrong, which you can't blame him for, is he should have ran in that 2-point conversion. But you can't blame him for that because the ball was right where it needed to be thrown. Kittle fucked that up. But you can't be mad at Kittle because he went 15 for 15.
Quick and short.
Yeah, but his hands were on it, dude. And you're in the NFL. If your hands are on the ball, you should be able to catch the ball.
Kittle to catch as well.
Yeah. But it was just the perfect disaster. You can't hate Kittle. Kittle went 15 for 15 before that.
But I do feel like if that was CJ's third start of the season and he was in that same position,
He
I
would have
feel like
ran. Yeah.
like,
And
that was
that's
the
just like you said.
inexperience and just being, like, in that moment fresh, and your first look is to throw, you think you can throw it, so you don't even think about running,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And that just comes with exactly what you said. Just the I don't want to use the term inexperience because he's very experienced, but it comes with not having that repetition
The
of
awareness,
being the starter, you know?
yeah. So
Like
you're more aware of just the little nuances of the game when a hole opens up, regardless of where your eyes are supposed to go,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That's the
And it has a
difference.
lot to and it also, you know, it always has a lot to do with the difference between practice and a real game. Like
Yeah.
injuries I think are always the answer to that. Why is it every year there's like those two guys that get injured in practice, but everyone gets injured in the game? It's because even though you're doing the same things and running the same things, you're not going like you mentioned last week or you know our last show, you're not going full speed.
Yeah.
So even though in a practice
Even
scenario,
though you think you're going full speed, your full speed of practice is nowhere close to your full
yeah,
speed in the game just because of adrenaline alone.
yeah. So
You're
even though
putting
both
different
these
torque and tension
backups,
on your body, you know?
yeah, exactly. Even though both these backups, they're running, you know, they're running practice all every day. Being in the game, it's totally
Yeah.
different, you know. But um, yeah, we
No.
just need Jimmy back. This was a hard loss. It was a win we needed just because our division is so freaking good.
Well, I mean, it
Um,
just sucks too because it's like it's a game that, like, even though we played really shitty, like, we still kinda shoulda won,
yeah,
but, like, we lost the turnover battle, which led to us losing the game, really.
yeah.
And it's hard because it's like you see how well CJ played when we finally brought him in, and it's like you kinda think like, "Man, we should have started him in the second half," you know?
Well, that's what is surprising because like
Us, you know?
yeah, and I think you said it in our fantasy chat, but I was already thinking it like Mullins was not good in the first half. They should have. I was surprised.
As soon as he missed that shot to Juszczyk,
Yeah.
like, the first quarter where it's like Juszczyk was wide open and he totally blew it,
Yep.
like, that was a sign, bro.
Yeah, I was surprised when we came back from. Like I even said to my wife, I was like, "I bet you we have a new quarterback in the second half." And he came. I was like, "Oh, okay." And then when he finally did come out, I was like, "Fucking, it's gonna be too fucking late, man." I didn't think.
Yeah.
To be honest, and it's not. I'm not trying to hate on CJ, but I didn't think he was gonna have the drive that he did. Like when he started rolling, I was like, "Oh, now I really wish we brought him in at the half." But
Yeah.
we don't get
No.
paid the big bucks, so
Yeah, it's not up to us.
yeah,
That's not up to us. But, I mean, the only bummer for me on this whole thing is it's like, kinda like Nick Mullins' stock kinda goes down, and it's just like, we're kinda hoping to maybe trade one of these guys and
yeah,
get something for him, like, we got a second round pick or we gave up a second round pick for Jimmy G, like, you think, like, another team, like, might not give up a somewhat of a high pick for somebody that they think, like,
yeah,
could be the next Jimmy G, or something like that,
yeah,
and it's like, this certainly doesn't help that. I mean, maybe CJ stock's on the rise, maybe we've got a chip with there, and then at the same time, Nick corrects his mistakes and we still have a backup quarterback in Nick Mullins, you know what I mean? You
yeah,
never know. So, well, hopefully there's a silver lining,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, tough season
But then
for the
again, like,
Niners, man. But
I personally think Jimmy's gonna start this week. I think he's gonna come back, and that's the other thing, we are getting a few more healthy
yeah,
reinforcements back,
yeah, we're
which
getting there.
it's kinda nice. I mean, we're still gonna be without Nick Bosa, obviously, for the rest of the season, which
Yeah,
is a big void to fill, but getting potentially Raheem Mostert
yeah,
back,
that'll be
getting another
nice.
receiver in Richie James, and if Jimmy plays, and then this will be Jimmy's first game having Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel,
And
and
I want
George
to see
Kittle.
him and Ayuk, man. I
This
want to
is
see
what this
Jimmy
is
and
what
Ayuk.
I mean. That's the four that we want, playing pitch and catch every day. So let's like Shanahan's got to be licking his chops. So I would think that he's
That, and
hoping Jimmy does too. You
that's
know?
why like and that's where for me with my whole concerns with Jimmy G is like I'm itching to see it because the next few games are gonna be because there's no excuses now. We've
Yeah.
got good receivers.
Right.
We know they're good.
The only excuses are our line right now,
I
and
still
there's
don't
still
think
a
it's
little.
enough though, man.
No, but we still
If
have
you're a good quarterback, you can work with
a
that.
shitty game.
Yeah,
I mean, call it what it is. I mean, he had 3 really dominant games, and he just shit an egg
yeah,
last week
yeah,
against the Philadelphia Eagles, and he got beat and same thing with McGlinchey. Like, those 2 guys for as much as capital that they're worth, like they did not play up to their ability nor the standards
Yeah.
that we expect of them.
Yeah.
And so I expect those 2 to have a really good week of practice, really be focused, really be motivated, and really kick some fucking ass this weekend. I really do.
Yeah. No, our passing game should be there, man. It really should now. I don't think we have an excuse.
No. I
Um,
mean, we are still on our Weston Richburg is still out. I mean, he
yeah,
could
yeah,
come
but we
back.
have more than other teams do that are doing better.
Yeah, no, 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 for sure. We're still in a better shape
Yeah.
than most, but, it's tough when you know you've got people of that caliber that are on your roster and you don't get to play them regardless of how good you still are. It's like you still wonder like, "Man, we could be solid," you know?
Yeah. I was kind
So,
of surprised of the Sanu drop. That was kind of interesting. I mean, it makes sense. I get it, but
yeah.
it was still just a little surprising, especially the
Well,
reaction from the team apparently. So,
but, I mean, it shoulda really been Dante Pettis that got cut, but,
yeah,
but
they won't
that's the
do
thing.
that though.
They're not gonna do it because it's still like, he's still super cheap on a rookie deal,
Yeah.
and it's like and because they traded up for him, it's like they kinda need to see this out the whole season.
Yeah.
They could drop him at the end of the season because
Dude,
it's gonna make
he has been a
Shanahan look
huge
bad.
disappointment.
Oh,
Huge
dude,
disappointment.
he's been nothing. He's been absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
He will be nothing. I don't even understand, like, what
He's
Shanahan saw in him.
like a Crabtree disappointment.
Even worse, dude.
I
He's
think it
more
could
like
be
a
worse.
more like a AJ Jenkins, dude.
Oh yeah, that's where we're at.
Because Crabtree at least
He
Crabtree had a few
produced.
good seasons and stuff
He
like
just
that.
was
Like,
never the number one that we expected him to be.
yeah, like
But he definitely
right.
he earned majority of his money. This guy ain't
No,
earning shit. Pettis ain't earning nothing. He's just getting a paycheck and laughing.
he's not. But it does seem like we hit on Debo, obviously, and Ayuk, which is
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
And they kind of seem very interchangeable. Like they almost seem like the same dude, don't
yeah,
they?
yeah. They're two just big, fast dudes.
Yeah, and you kind of
Ayuk,
put
man,
those
that
all
guy.
either way, whether it's running or passing, whatever.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Ayuk.
his run against Philly was sick.
That jump, that leap was one of the dirtiest I've ever seen, man.
Oh yeah,
It was just, it
that
was
was
good.
better than like a Saquon one, dude, for sure.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was clean, dude. They
yeah, and
showed a couple replays of him doing that in a college and a high school too, and it's just
it's like he's for real if he does that again, like you know by like week 6.
yeah, yeah,
Like if you see that again this season once or twice more, then like, oh shit, he's for real. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like it's not
He
just a
just
one
looks
off.
good, dude. He just looks like
Oh yeah, yeah,
he's it. So
yeah. I know it's gonna be fun, man.
yeah,
We shall see. All right, man. Let's get into some random questions. What do you think? This is like one of my favorite, another one of my favorite segments. And I think we're gonna make this a mainstay at least once a week, where we
yeah,
drop some random questions because I think this is where yeah, we like to talk about sports, we like to talk about gaming, we like to talk about whatever, and maybe those aren't topics that everybody likes or can relate to, but I think everybody can relate to our random questions. What do you
yeah.
think?
I agree. I'm all for it. What you
So
got?
I think this kind of sparked my like my random question. I saw a meme the other day that was like a road trip or like road trip snacks should always look like you gave a 9-year-old like $100 and walked into a candy store or something like that, you know?
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, to be honest, it's kind of what it looks like, you know?
yeah.
And so my random question to you is let's go a little bit beyond just like what are your favorite snacks on a road trip? But like, what are the 5 most important things you just have to have for any road trip?
Okay. Is this like a road trip with the boys or like I just feel like the scenario
Yeah,
could
I think that's
drastically
really gonna be
change that.
different. Let's say me and you were on a road trip. Let's
Okay,
just
me
say
and you.
me and you on a road trip.
Uh, so definitely numero uno, 110%, especially with me and you, is some good tunes.
Yeah,
Music is the key. I think that's number one. Number two, snacks for sure. Um, just your. I think nothing out of the normal. Just some munchies and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, three I can't say on camera. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, definitely. I think for us, we'd have see. This is hard. Like road trip for me and you, we would definitely need some beers, but obviously not while we're driving.
Yeah.
But for the destination, um, or the halfway point or something, some good beers. Uh, Damn, dude, this is hard. What is that? 3 or 4? Did I do 4? 3.
I think that's like 3.
Music, munchies, beers. Um, I think for us, probably our skateboards.
There you go.
Um, just the cruisers though. I'm not doing your freaking ramps and shit like that.
Yeah, it doesn't as long as you're on 4 wheels and it goes, that
Yeah.
works for me.
And then number 5, I feel like you're gonna say something. I'm gonna kick myself for not thinking of it. Um, so I'm gonna cheat on this one a little bit because it's similar to music, but me and you both love stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
So I think making sure we had a few good stand-ups to listen to get some laughs.
Oh, for sure, for
Um,
sure.
and I mean I'm focusing mainly on like the actual journey, not like the destination. So it's got to be things we can do in the car. Because we can get, I mean, me and you can get creative with like stupid ass road games and stuff. So I'm not really
Oh,
doing
yeah.
that. But I think that's a good 5 for
I'll
me.
be master of I Spy.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll murder you in I Spy, bro.
No way. 2 dads playing I Spy? That's like something for ESPN right there. It's like high level I Spy.
Yeah. I
You
have
know?
a, I have a feeling you've had time to think about this more than me, so I'm curious to see what yours are.
No, to be honest, I haven't really thought about it as much, but I do have some different answers. I mean, obviously, number 1 is music. I mean, you need to be audibly entertained. I mean, you just can't sit in silence the whole time. Obviously, we'll probably talk and do both.
Yeah.
Uh, I think you definitely need this is a need. You definitely need your route mapped out from point A to point B, but you also need strategic pit stops like laid out. And then what I mean by pit stops is it's not just to go to the bathroom. It's like, okay, like let's say the road trip's like, you know, a 15-hour drive.
Yeah.
Okay, well, like, maybe every 3 hours we need a pit stop, and that's for like maybe we need to get more Red Bull or we need to get like more this or that or oh, this is a fucking sick ass skate park in this city, so let's go hit that on the way. We'll
Yeah.
do the pit stop there for like a half an hour and then grab a burrito and get back on the road. You know, so you gotta have the plan, right? So you gotta have music, you gotta have the plan,
Mhm.
and then you gotta have the snacks, and the snacks have to be something hearty, something salty, and something sweet. Gotta have all 3. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
like I said, you got the burrito after you hit the skate park.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna have, like, your Skittles or your Starburst or your, like, gummy worms, or I like the Harpedo gummy bears and all that kinda shit. That's my kinda, like, road trip food.
So okay, so that's your sweet one?
Yeah.
All right. So my sweet one would probably be high chews.
It's in the same family,
Yeah.
kinda like the Starburst and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, we're on the same level. And then something salty is, like, a good road trip one is, like, sunflower seeds or, a couple bags of chips or something like
Yeah.
that, obviously, but sunflower seeds are nice because, like, you can eat a ton of them and it'll take up, like, 2 hours, you know?
Yeah, dude, for real.
And it's like
And they're
it's
good
like
because
just
you can get like the ranch flavored ones are one of my
yeah,
favorites.
jumbo ranch, love the
Yeah.
jumbo ranch,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
but, it's probably a lot of people like, "Ugh, fuck the jumbo ranch," whatever.
There's
It's all
a there's an age old debate between the jumbo ranch and the barbecue.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm fine with both
I
of
know.
them.
Yeah, people like what
You know
they
what I've never
like,
done is mix them. We should mix them.
yeah,
Hmm.
why not? Why not?
It's like like barbecue wings. You dip in ranch is like the best
It's
thing. It's
true,
like the same
yeah,
thing.
no, I never thought about that. That's a good idea.
Hmm.
Should do that. So
I'm
what we
gonna
got?
do
We got
this weekend.
we got music, the plan, the snacks, and then, um, I was really struggling with this one, but, It's gonna make me sound like super lame, but you gotta
You've
have
already
the
established that.
well, yeah, thanks, dude. You gotta have the sort of the backup plan. Like, you gotta have at least you gotta have
Dude, you're
some
such
tools
a
on
fucking
board.
parent, dude. Jesus Christ.
You gotta have some tools on board, you gotta be able to, first aid kit, you gotta have all that shit, your flares,
You're
what is
you're
something
disappointing me
backup.
largely with this right now.
Dude,
Just
it
so
is
you
what it
know.
is. It needs to be done, It needs
3
to
of
be
your 5 are fucking plan, plan, and plan.
sorry, bro. I like the plan.
That's why I'm the fun one out of the 2 of us.
Yeah.
You're the one that
And then
keeps us out of jail.
and then obviously the number 5 is all the toys. You know what I mean? Like the skateboard, whatever it is you're gonna do. Like maybe we're on a snowboard trip, maybe we're on this or that. You gotta have the toys.
Yeah.
And you gotta have multiple toys. Like I said, we might be on a snowboard trip, but we gotta bring our skateboards too because you never know what you're gonna hit in the parking lot, or you never know what you're gonna be, or maybe like, oh, we're at the hotel, but like, oh, dinner's only like 3 blocks away. Let's skate there.
Yeah.
Gotta do it. You know?
I like that you're the more adult one of us.
No,
But
I just, I'm the one that posed the question. I
I
had
know.
more time to think
Yeah.
about it,
Yeah. I like that.
So
I got
you
I
had
got a
you
I
had
got
like
a
drinks is one and snacks is one, so it's like.
I got a random question. It's a deep question though. It's
Okay.
so I'll give the background behind it. I was asked this by a coworker the other day, and my answer to this for some reason surprises people. So I always kind of turn it into a joke, but it got me thinking about asking you. Um, Basically, what is your opinion on death? Like like do you fear it? Like
Like my
what do you?
own death?
Yeah,
I don't really think about it, to be honest.
yeah,
I mean, like I have, but like I'm not afraid of it. I'm not like I'm not too conscious of it at the same time. It's like I know it's gonna happen. I'm not one of those people that like fears it's gonna happen really anytime soon. I just kind of assume I'm gonna live um, an average length of life, and hopefully get to do all the things I want. And maybe that's really naive of me to think, but um, I don't know. I guess that's better than the alternative of always being afraid of it,
yeah,
or not doing something because I'm afraid I'm gonna die because of it.
yeah,
It's like as you can tell, like I'm big into skating and stuff like that, and like I still feel like the other like dude, Saturday I slammed so hard at the skate park, like so hard, dude. I thought I texted my wife like right away. I was like, I broke my butt, like like I fell like right on my sacrum, and
oh
like thought I was gonna like, I got up there's a lot of people there too, and I was like, "Oh, shit." Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't put my skateboard away after that. I was just, like, watching the boys after that. Like, the rest of the day, like, I was like, "Oh, like, babe, I'm worthless. Like, I can't do anything." Like, I couldn't even like, I was like, "Oh my god, I can't, like, get up or do anything." But, like, lucky for me, like, it's still a little sore, but, like, I was very mobile the next day, and,
Yeah,
like, it got better relatively quickly.
yeah,
But, like, it's just like but, like, I'm not like, "Oh my god, I can't skate anymore because like, that really hurt." Like, I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna be down for a few days, like, I can't wait to be back." You know what I mean? Like, same thing like snowboarding, it's like, I wanna go off the biggest jump there still, I still wanna go mountain bike riding. Like, I thrive and, like, I get my kicks off of that adrenaline from doing those wild and crazy things, and I know that there's risks involved with those, but I tend to not even really assume like, think about the risks, and I kinda relate that to death. It's like I never really think about it. I'm more of a glass half full guy than a half empty.
yeah,
So, it is what it is. If it happens, it happens, but, it's like I'm not gonna live in fear of it.
yeah. Um, I like that answer. Mine's similar. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of background on my answer, and then I'm gonna give you my joke answer, which is not. It's partially a joke, but
Okay.
you'll see. So, and then I'll tell you. I'll give you my real answer. So I don't fear the act of dying whatsoever. I've seen it a lot, probably more so than most. And my grandmother is on hospice right now. She's getting towards the end of life with she's has dementia, and
Mhm.
I was raised by her and my grandfather, and she has been terrified to death her entire life, to the point where she kept my grandfather alive a lot longer than was necessary. She's keeping herself alive a lot longer than that's necessary. So for me, seeing that firsthand, like, I don't fear the act of dying. I fear one thing, and that is I just want, for once in my life, to be able to say a certain phrase that I'm scared if I die now, I'll never get to say. And that phrase is, don't forget tonight's garbage night. My entire fucking life, every week, from being raised to my grandparents and my grandfather, don't forget it's garbage night. Transition into my damn wife, don't forget it's garbage night. I want to live long enough to be able to say that to somebody else. All right?
Like on your bed. It's your last thing you said. Don't forget it's garbage night.
Yeah. I want to live long enough to be able to say to my kids, don't forget it's garbage night.
We gotta train him, dude. Nate's what, 8 now, dude? He can do that.
Getting close. He helps me put the garbage bags in the garbage cans, but taking it out, we're not quite there yet. But no.
I mean, think about it, like, how old were you when they started saying that to you?
Dude, I think I was legit like 3, bro. My grandfather was ready to hand that chore off immediately.
I know for sure I was at least 8. You know,
I think I was, honestly, and to be honest, I think I was probably around Nate's age, the 7, 8-year-old age. But
for sure.
But the truth that, like, so that's the joke I always give. But the truth is, for me, the fear is not in the act of dying. It's when I die. I just really want to see my kids grow. Yeah. And it's like, I think that for me, it's the fear of what you leave behind. Like, if I was to die today, how that would affect my kids, especially Nate and Luke, because they have, they know me. We have such a close relationship and stuff. The burden it would put on my wife with having to raise them on their own and all that. Like, I think that's where the fear comes in for me. Is I don't care when and how I die in the act of dying. I just don't want it to be until they get to an age where they at least have the memories with me that they should have.
Yeah.
Not to get all like super deep, but that's the reality. It's like, so for me, I think anytime after 50, I could care less. I just want to make sure that they get that experience, and it ties in a lot to the fact that I didn't have that,
Yeah.
Like, I'm very blessed I had my grandparents, even though they were very unique, and I was also like, I was just blessed that I was surrounded by father figures. Good old Steve, your dad was one of them. Mike Hubble, you remember? I think you remember David, but Mike was they're the guys that lives across the street from me, So I had even Dave Beer, who was a little off the hinges, but was still, knew how to help me figure out right from wrong and stuff. Like, I was fortunate enough that I had good friends
around you, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
That I had good friends that their fathers understood what I didn't have and did what they could to help raise me in that aspect. But Absolutely. I still didn't have my own father. And I know what that feels like, even though,
like, for your kids, absolutely.
Yeah. So even though I know what the love of a father feels like from my friends' parents, it's still not the same. So I think that's where it's for me. I just want to make sure that they at least get that out of me, and then after it's whatever.
Yeah.
But to a minor part of that, it is definitely, I need to be able to say that phrase at least once, man. Just give it to me one time. One time. Let me kick my feet up on the fucking couch on Thursday night and go, don't forget it's garbage night, and not have to move.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, like, don't forget it's garbage night, but then you're gonna have to, like, after you say that,
I'm gonna have to walk through the entire house and say, you missed that, you missed that, you missed that, you missed that.
Like, make sure you get that. Like, what do you mean?
But I won't have to put my shoes on to bring it outside. That's the goal. Okay.
You're gonna have several weeks of, like, you gotta do quality assurance before you can really just get to the point of.
But see, here's the thing, dude. So check this out. This is how I learned that. I learned that real quick. One time, it took me one time of my grandfather the next day handing me the phone and saying, you need to call the garbage company and tell them that they need to come because you didn't put the garbage out.
Oh.
Like, Making that phone call at 10 years old, dude, it scars you for life, bro.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you've taught, all garbage companies are the same. The person on the other end of that line, they don't want to talk to you at all. They want nothing. They fucking deal with garbage all day. They don't want to deal with your bullshit. You call them and you say, if you have to call the garbage company and say, hey, I forgot to put the garbage out. I need you to come pick it up. That's like second to saying, looking like your wife or significant other in the eyes and saying, hey, I cheated on you. Like, that's the type of fear you have in the reaction you're going to get on the other end of that phone. Because you know what they're thinking. You stupid mother, you had one job.
Yeah.
One fucking job that doesn't change ever.
Yeah,
except for that one time every 10 years, Christmas Day lands on the day garbage is picked up.
Even then, they still service it nowadays. You know,
it's like, a lot of times they do. But you know, like,
their schedules so much that they'd rather service you on Christmas. You know,
it's like the most shameful phone call you have to make.
Yeah.
So I'll just be
but dude, to be honest, like, there's probably way more people that actually do this on a weekly basis, or like, you know, in a city of 50,000 people, I'm sure a couple thousand people do this every week. You know, or a couple hundred at least. You know, so there's probably that one truck that's dedicated every day to the people who forgot yesterday.
Here's your route today. You got to go all the way up north, and then you got to go down south, and then oh, there's this dipshit over here on the east side.
Well, and that's just an extra charge for them too.
Yeah,
like, they charge you.
Yeah, so. But they're fucking, dude. The garbage people are cutthroat. It's always some miserable lady too that you got to talk to.
There for 30 years. Yeah. I've never seen so much stupid people in 30 years. Jesus Christ.
I'll never forget. I called when I lived in Pacifica once because like we had extra garbage and it was like the first time I'd ever had that. So I called. I was like, hey, like, so I have like more garbage than fits in my garbage can. Is there anything I can do about it? And I'll just never forget. She was just like, well, you could put it in a bag and put it next to the garbage can. And I was just like, oh, okay. You know, we'll just charge you an extra $6. But do you have to make me feel like a fucking idiot for that? Like, they just have that. It's like a DMV person, you know?
Oh, I know. Yeah. It's just like, it's like, I work here, but like, why are you here?
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, I tell people how to renew their license all day, every day. It's not my problem. You only have to do it once every 10 years. Okay? Yeah. You should know what to do. You should know what to do. What? You haven't been here in 10 years? Figure it out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We've gone full high tech now, even since the last time you've been here. So figure it out.
Yeah. You just go over there and push the fucking renew button. All right? It's not that hard.
Oh, okay? I know. It's insane. It is insane.
Oh, man.
Those are some good questions, dude. That was fun.
Yeah, I know that one's a little deep, but I just like the conversation I had with my coworker got me thinking, like, you know, it's a question that a lot of people.
Random questions is a space that you could take it anywhere. You can have fun with it. You can get deep. You can, do whatever, man. Yeah. I like it. We're in the trust tree, in the nest, just doing our thing.
Oh, man. All right. I think we're done.
I think that brings episode 16 to a close. Why don't you wrap us up, dude?
Thank you for kicking it. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, do all those things that every YouTube viewer hates hearing. Comment, say what's up on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you're listening, thank you for dealing with these two beautiful voices on a weekly basis. We appreciate you, and we will see you in the next one. I like that was smooth. That was pretty smooth.